Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Let's explore today who God is and how that impacts our relationship with Him. In fact, that is primarily the focus of this talk today, is God revealed. From the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation, we have a story, a compendium of scripture that is about the revelation of who God is. I mean, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God. Well, what about Him? He created. Verse 1 reminds or begins to tell us who God is, begins to reveal Him. And the reality is, as we go through the scriptures, it seems to me almost like every page is full of information, revelation about the nature and character of our God. And when we get in the Psalms, it seems like every other verse has something new to tell us and show us about Him. Rich story of who God is. And I think we have not often read the scriptures in that way. How many days do we pick up the Bible and say, I want to see who God is today? I think so often we pick it up and say, show me what's wrong with my life, show me what I need to do, and correct me, and so on. And we see the Bible as some kind of correction manual, instead of looking at it as a revelation of the character and heart of our God and exploring it for that purpose. That's kind of where I'm coming from today. In Hebrews chapter 1, it says, in past times God has spoke to us through the prophets, revealing who He is. But now, in these last days, He has spoken to us by His Son, who is the exact representation of our God. The full revelation of who Father is comes through Jesus. As we look at Him, as we study Him, His words, His ways, His works, they show us the heart of the Father. And Jesus even declared that, wasn't it? That, a major part of His mission was to reveal who His Father was. He said, if you've seen me, you've seen my Father. He said, I've made your name known, your character known to these people, and I will continue to make it known. John chapter 17. A passion of Jesus' heart. Why? I think partly because the picture we have of God so deeply and fundamentally affects how we relate to Him and how we relate to others and how we relate to ourselves. It seems that, unfortunately, the church over the centuries often has focused so much on that Old Testament covenant God, the God of the Old Covenant, which was a performance-based covenant. If you do this, then I'll do this, and so on. And if you don't, then there's punishment and exile and separation. And that image of who God is, the God that's very difficult to please, who has very high standards and expects us to meet them, that image of a performance-based God has been made the image of God in so many churches that people have had tended to have one of two responses to it. Either one, like the elder brother, they get religious, they work hard, serve hard, and hope that they've done enough to earn the Father's favor, and hope that the books are in their favor. Or they're like the younger son who just say, the heck with it all, I can't live up to that. There's no hope of me performing that well, so I'm not even going to bother trying. And it breaks my heart that there are so many multitudes of people, friends that I've grown up with and known, who have run away from that kind of God and have missed the whole joy of that deep, rich, life-giving relationship with Abba because they had a wrong picture of Him. Someone said one time, I think like Adam and Eve and so many through the centuries, we have painted the face of God with the brush of our emotions. We've looked at our humanness, and out of our shame and guilt and fear, we've colored God in with those colors instead of just letting Him reveal who He really is to us. So, when we begin to understand who God really is by looking at Jesus and looking at everything in the scriptures through the lens of who Jesus is, see everything with the glasses of Jesus on, all of a sudden the Old Testament stuff becomes really much clearer, doesn't it? And then when we begin to understand this revealed God, when we go to the scriptures, we're going in with what can I learn about him today? What new aspect of Father's heart can I experience now? And it becomes a treasure hunt looking for God, rather than a fearful kind of thing of we're going to find out he's tougher than we thought or harder to please than we thought. No, 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 that's never going to happen. That's not who he is. So anyway, I just want to encourage us today to meditate on that and think about it, the God revealed, and go to some scriptures today. Pick a psalm, go to somewhere in the scriptures and read a story or read it and say, what does this show me about who Father is? And then delight in that and rejoice in it. It's vitally important. Let's think about that. We'll talk again tomorrow.